A Hard Day's Night, 1964, did not simply entertain, it detonated across culture and crowned four young men as living myths. The film was bright, breathless, unforgettable, a joyous blur of guitars and laughter that felt immortal. But decades later, the story behind its most magnetic face turned tragic and unbelievable in ways no camera ever captured. The world remembers the songs, the smiles, the quick wit, the dream of peace. Few understand the shadows that gathered around the dreamer who sang, "Imagine," the surveillance that trailed him, the strangers who studied his every move, the single winter night when New York lights blurred and the city fell quiet. People said it was fate. Others whispered it was design. Was it the act of one man seeking attention, or the consequence of a message that grew too loud for powerful ears to ignore? This is not a tabloid or a horror tale. It is the story of a legend, a voice that changed how we think about love and war, and the mysterious forces that rose to silence it. What follows is shocking and deeply human, a truth that lives on long after the music fades. The world first met John Lennon through the whirlwind of the Beatles, a band that reshaped music, youth, and even politics. Their 1964 film, A Hard Day's Night, captured a generation in motion. Cheeky humor, restless energy, and melodies that seemed to promise eternal joy. Lennon stood at the center of it all, sharp-tongued, charming, yet always searching for something beyond applause. As the world screamed his name, he began to question the very fame he had created. After the Beatles disbanded, Lennon embarked on a new journey, no longer just a musician, but a thinker, a protester, and a man unafraid to challenge authority. With Yoko Ono by his side, he staged Bed-Ins for Peace, wrote Give Peace a Chance, and turned his platform into a megaphone for change. But behind the utopian dream was a storm brewing. His outspokenness on war, politics, and the establishment drew the attention of people in high places, people who did not like his influence. By the late 1970s, Lennon had become both adored and watched. His return to New York was supposed to mark a quiet comeback, a peaceful life after chaos. Yet destiny had other plans. Decades later, one question still lingers in every fan's mind: who truly silenced the man who sang for peace? He was born in Liverpool in 1940, during air raids that shook the city, perhaps destiny's first hint that his life would always dance between chaos and creation. By 20, John Lennon had already begun rewriting what music could mean. With the Beatles, he didn't just make songs, he made revolutions in sound, in style, and in thought. But behind every anthem of youth was a restless soul, a man torn between genius and guilt, tenderness and rage. When the Beatles split in 1970, Lennon could have remained a millionaire recluse, but instead he chose to fight with words and melodies. His solo works, Imagine, Mother, Working Class Hero, revealed not a pop idol but a philosopher struggling with fame's emptiness. He spoke of peace, love, and freedom, yet his honesty made him dangerous. FBI files later confirmed he was closely monitored, his phone tapped, his visa nearly revoked. To many, he was just a singer. To others, a man whose voice carried too much power. By 1980, Lennon was ready for rebirth. His album, Double Fantasy, symbolized hope, the dream of a new beginning with Yoko Ono and their son, Sean. But that hope ended abruptly one cold December night outside the Dakota Building. The headlines said it all, but few understood what truly ended that evening, not just a life, but a generation's innocence. Lennon's estate, valued around $200 million, became one of music's most guarded legacies. A fortune built from love, rebellion, and the world's undying need to believe in his message. She was never meant to be in the spotlight, yet the spotlight found her and never left. Born in Tokyo, raised amid war and art, Yoko Ono met Lennon in a London gallery in 1966. From that moment, they became inseparable, two artists fused by love and controversy. To some, she was the muse who expanded his mind. To others, the woman who broke the Beatles. But the truth was simpler. She understood him when fame made him unreachable. Together they created performances that blurred the line between protest and poetry. Their bed-ins for peace became a global statement, absurd, tender, and revolutionary. Yet, behind their smiles, Yoko watched as the world turned cruel. The backlash was relentless, the headlines venomous. She endured being blamed for things she never did, learning to survive in silence beside a man who preached harmony while the world threw stones. After that December night in 1980, Yoko was left to guard the empire and the myth. She preserved Lennon's recordings, managed his publishing rights, and turned their story into a cultural monument. Her estimated fortune, over $700 million, is not merely wealth, it is the price of memory. Today, she lives quietly in New York, rarely seen, still speaking softly of peace, still protecting the dream she and John began. Before that night, he was nobody, a man lost in the blur of ordinary life. Born in Texas, raised with strict faith, Mark David Chapman grew up chasing identity. He admired Lennon once, even signed albums for fans. But fame twisted something inside him. He read The Catcher in the Rye and began to believe he was chosen for a mission no one else could understand. The line between admiration and obsession blurred until only darkness remained. In late 1980, Chapman traveled to New York, lingering outside the Dakota with a copy of Lennon's album in hand. He met his idol, even received an autograph hours before everything changed. What happened next would echo forever, though its motives remain clouded. Some call it delusion. Others whisper about influence, unseen forces, political tension, psychological manipulation. The truth, perhaps, lies somewhere in between. Chapman never escaped the weight of that moment. Decades later, he remains confined, serving a life sentence, a man who silenced peace and found none himself. He once said he acted to be someone, but history remembers him only as a shadow, the embodiment of how fame can attract not only love, but destruction. Each of them, Lennon, Yoko, and Chapman, played their part in a tragedy no scriptwriter could have imagined. Fame brought them together and tore them apart, binding their names forever in a story of music, devotion, and loss. And somewhere between truth and myth, the question endures. Was it madness or design that ended the dream of peace? On screen, John Lennon was the face of rebellion and hope, a man who made the impossible sound simple. All you need is love. Yet beyond the microphones and bright lights, his story became a reflection of everything fragile about fame itself. He longed for peace, but his truth stirred chaos. He preached love, yet found himself hunted by fear. When Lennon's voice went silent, the world didn't just lose a musician. It lost the dreamer who dared to believe humanity could change. For Yoko Ono, life became a quiet vigil, a guardian of memories too painful to relive, too precious to forget. For millions of fans, every play of Imagine became a kind of prayer, a way to speak to the man who once sang for all of us. More than 40 years have passed, but the mystery endures. Was his fall the price of fame, or the punishment for speaking truth too loudly? Perhaps it was both a reminder that even the brightest light casts a long shadow. His legacy lives wherever a piano plays softly in the dark, whispering the same question that still haunts us all. Can peace survive in a world that fears those who dream of it? If John Lennon's story still echoes in your heart, don't let his voice fade. Like this video, share it with those who still believe in love over power, and leave a comment below. Do you think Lennon's dream of peace was silenced by fate or by fear? Every view, every share keeps his message alive, reminding the world that music can be stronger than violence, and truth can outlast time. Subscribe to Fame and Shadows for more untold stories behind the legends who changed the world and paid the ultimate price for it.